Hi everyone, it's Bennett, your fantasy football commish, with the Week 6 recap for the ForrestLand MishMash Fantasy Football League. Before I get to that, I just want to apologize for not updating the weekly recaps the last several weeks. There's really no excuse. I've been a little busy, but I'm always busy. So I'm not sure why, I just haven't gotten to it, and no excuses. So let's get right into it. Actually, this was a very close week. A lot of close games this week, and we'll take a look at the standings in a minute to just demonstrate that the Mish division is really sort of rising to the top of the whole entire league. So before we get to that, let's take a look at the Slim Aussies and third and Oolong. This was a great game in terms of being decided on Monday night. It was actually close all day Sunday. Went back and forth a little bit. Joe Flacco got some points in garbage time at the end of that game against Green Bay to really take the lead. Neither team did too much in the Sunday night game, but it really came down to Monday night's game where the Slim Aussies had Reggie Wayne for the Colts, and third and Oolong had Trent Richardson for the Colts. And basically, the Slim Aussies were down by 4 going into the game, got 13 points. Indiana didn't even score a touchdown, so it really just came down to fantasy points for both people. Trent Richardson, Reggie Wayne took the early lead, had some catches early. Trent Richardson in the second half really had a couple nice runs. He went from 11 yards to 40 within like 2 or 3 runs, and had the lead up to about 3. But with the Colts down and having to throw in the second half, even though they didn't get the ball too much, Reggie Wayne got a couple garbage catches towards the end when Luck was just throwing the ball all over the place, including his 1,000th career catch, and that's what really made the difference. Gave the Slim Aussies a 3-point win, 150 to 147, and the Aussies really needed that win after losing 2 in a row. They climb to 500 and stay within shouting distance of the lead in the Mish division, while third and Oolong falls to 3-3, but still is in great shape in the Mash division. So pretty close game, and it did come down to the fourth quarter Monday night. Let's take a look at the other games we have for you. Again, you can see a lot of close games. The Travelers beat Ray Finkel's Kicking Academy. Travelers are having a good year, 3 in a row. And Ray Finkel continues to be up and down, has scored many points some weeks and no points the other weeks. Neither team blew the covers off the doors here, but obviously Drew Brees, Andy Dalton with probably his best game of the year, and of course Vincent Jackson really carrying it for the Travelers. And other than Nick Foles, which was a nice start, who else did Finkel have? Let's see. Finkel had Brandon Weeden option, and that's really... Oh, and Matt Schaub. So really smart to bench Matt Schaub in favor of Nick Foles. Got 32 points. So as long as he's in the game, he's showing that he's respectable. And, of course, a down game by Peyton Manning and Julius Thomas did not help. So the Finkels live and die by the Broncos, which has worked most weeks, and this week they die with 3 players getting, 37 points between 3 players when Peyton Manning's gotten that much himself some weeks. So that hurt Finkel, and Chicago Travelers, Temi, go to 4-2 with their 3rd win in a row. Nice win, Temi. Another close game. The Catonsville Cartels defeat the sophomore slumping CT Calvinators, 149-142. I don't think this game was decided in the evening. It was just one of those games that just sort of was steady the whole way, and I think after the 4 o'clock games, everybody was done. And the Cartel got a great head start with Brandon Marshall and Jay Cutler in the Thursday night game. Didn't get much from Calvin Johnson, but at least was starting this week where he was out last week. And they get just enough. Nice steady game by all his players. Would have been nice to get more from Tony Romo, but the Cartel go to 4-2, and CT Calvinators fall to 2-4. So a little bit of a sophomore slump so far. The Calvinators losing 3 in a row, and they fall 149 to 142. Close game. Let's see, we have Spring Street Stallions, which have probably established themselves as the premier team in the league. They definitely have way more points than anyone else. No one even has cracked 1,000, and the Stallions have over 1,100 points with a nice 200 even game against the tough luck Darth Taters, who scored 180 in the loss. Let's see, would have beaten. It always hurts to be the second highest scorer and lose. But that's the case with the Darth Taters. So a little bit of bad luck there. The Spring Street Stallions really have risen to the top of the league and definitely have the best team at this point. Cam Newton has been pleasant surprise. Really, I would say the one weakness of the Stallions is the quarterback position. And Phillip Rivers is up and down. You never know what you're going to get there. But Cam Newton's had some blow-up days. I think he had a rushing touchdown. So Cam Newton and Phillip Rivers are sort of the wild card for the Stallions. But Jordy Nelson, Deshaun Jackson had great days. Welker, mediocre day, but still got points. Jordan Cameron, the tight end, has been great. And Jimmy Graham did not have a single point. He's probably, I think, one of the top 5 leading fantasy scorers in the league. If you look at his season, he's had 10 catches, 9, 10, 4 straight games with 4 straight games with a touchdown. 4 straight games at the beginning of the year with at least 1 touchdown. 4 straight games with 100-plus yards, and yet gets totally shut out against New England. But yet it didn't matter as the Stallions got 200 points and really had this one in the bag, even though Justin Blackmon had a nice day for the Darth Taters. Obviously, Andrew Luck didn't help. And poor Chad, having to start Chad Henne was not ideal. Would have been nice to have Carson Palmer in, but that would not have gotten him quite to 200. So a little bit of bad luck. Very nice scoring day, other than the quarterbacks for the Darth Taters. But the Stallions take it and again establish themselves as cream of the league so far. Good job, Stallions. And finally, we have. You got beat by a girl, just scoring a measly 69 points. We'll talk about it in a minute, but she easily has the lowest point total for the year, which is obviously explains the 1-5 record. Eli Manning's got to be a huge disappointment, but look at this. Cecil Shorts, 0. Vincent Brown, 5. Dwayne Bowe, 7. Steve Johnson, 0. I don't think he played. Had a couple good people on the bench, but you got beat by girls. Really got a struggling this year. Really tough team. Really, other than Tom Brady and Adrian Peterson, really not much there. So she gets 69 points, falls to 1-5. Meanwhile, She Got Game has a pretty solid 148 point outburst for them. For Sheree's team with Danny Woodhead, Doug Martin getting some points. Vernon Davis obviously carried the team with 41 points. I didn't even see that until just now. What did he had? He had 8 catches, 180 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So that's amazing. He's had a good year otherwise to this point, but obviously 41 points is huge for She Got Game, so I'm sure she'll take that. And Sheree's team goes to 3-3. So we're going to look at the standings in just a minute, but obviously a tough season for You Got Beat by a Girl. So that's the wrap-up of the game for Week 6. Let's take a look at the standings, and this is pretty interesting. Like I mentioned before, the Stallions easily have... 2 points. The Stallions easily have the most points in the league, and thus the 5-1 record. But what I was going to say is the Mish division easily has the best teams in their division. Other than the You Got Beat by a Girl picking up the rear, every team's 500 or above, where not a single team is above 500 in the MASH division. So the MASH division, obviously, real tight. Even the Calvinators in last place, only behind by 1 game. And just a reminder that the MASH division will get 1 team at least into the playoffs. The only position that's guaranteed is the winner of each division. So the 2 wildcard teams could easily come from the Mish division this year. So as of right now, that's where it would stand, but plenty of time to go with 8 weeks left. So, but let's just take a look at the points. Like I said before, the Stallions obviously well above anyone else. The Slim Aussies have had a little luck, as you can see, the most points against, the only one that has 1,000 points against. And it just goes to show you about who you play, where the Slim Aussies have the 3rd most points in the league, and yet are only 3-3. But the Cartel have a very strong team. Obviously, they have the 2nd most points. and the Travelers have had a little bit of good luck with who they're playing, but yet are 4-2 nonetheless. And like we said, you got beat by a girl picking up the rear. And finally, we have the MASH division, which is very tight. Only 2 teams really scoring a lot of points, which is Third and Oolong and Ray Finkel's Kicking Academy. But again, a lot of time left to play in the season. So thanks for listening to the weekly recap. Again, I apologize for not getting this to you the last several weeks. So I was slacking there, but I should be caught up now, and I promise to be on top of things for the rest of the year. Again, don't forget to send your money. A couple of you already have, so I appreciate that. It's 4 Adams Lane, West Hartford, Connecticut, 06117, and $25 as always are the league dues. So thanks for listening, and until next week, get your lineups in for Thursday, and good luck, guys. Have a great week.